Sri Lanka is going to the polls today in its second election since the end of its civil war in 2009. It's one of the closest elections in a generation, perhaps one of the most significant. The contest pits the incumbent president, Mahinda Rajapaksa, against Maithripala Sirisena. The drama in this is that until December, Mr. Sirisena was a government minister in Mr. Rajapaksa's administration, but he defected just after the election was called. This was a snap election. Mr. Rajapaksa has served only 4 years of his 6-year term, but he thought that he was likely to win easily, and that has turned out to be a miscalculation. And it could be that after dominating Sri Lankan politics for a generation, Mr. Rajapaksa could lose today and then be forced to hand over power. Mr. Rajapaksa portrays himself as the unifying father of the nation, the man who brought peace and subsequently prosperity to this small South Asian island.
මේ මැතිවරණය ඔබේ තීරණය කරන්න තියෙන්නේ ඔබට. රට ස්ථාවරව ඉදිරියට යනවාද? එහෙමත් නැත්නම් ආපසු අස්ථාවරව ආපසු ගමනක් ආරම්භනවාද කියලා. මේක නේද? මම ඔබේ හදවතින් මේ ප්‍රශ්නය අසා ගන්නෑයි ඉල්ලා සිටමින් මා නිහඬ වෙනවා.
And, it has been a prosperous time. The economy is purring along nicely, somewhere between 7 and 8% growth last year, and that's why he was so confident of victory. For Mr. Sirisena, the election is very different. He wants to accuse this government of corruption, of crony capitalism, of taking Sri Lanka's democracy and turning it in a very authoritarian direction, being run by a close-knit group, many of whom are in Mr. Rajapaksa's family. And there's also a question of Sri Lanka's place in the world. Mr. Rajapaksa has allied the country quite closely with China. There have been a number of very large, expensive infrastructure projects funded by the Chinese. And for the opposition, these are also a source of corruption.
වර්තමාන මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ පාලනය මේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ නිදහස ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ වල්ලමින් මේ රටේ කිසිම කාලයක නොමැති ආකාරයේ අන්ත දූෂිත පාලනයක් ගෙනියනවා. රාජ්‍ය සම්පත්, රාජ්‍ය දීපල, පොදු මහ ජනතාවගේ සම්පත් අනිසි විදිහට පරිහරණය කිරීම වගේම තම පවුලේ සුඛ විහරණය සඳහා පාවිච්චි කරන බව අපිට පෙනී යනවා.
It's really anyone's guess who's going to win. There's no reliable opinion polling in Sri Lanka. And so both sides say they're confident of victory, but we really don't know. All we can say is that it's very tight. Whatever happens, I think the one thing you can say is that Sri Lanka is headed for a period of instability. If Mr. Rajapaksa holds on to power, the likelihood is that he is going to have to retrench his grip. He may continue to head in a direction that critics have alleged to be more authoritarian. But if Mr. Sirisena, the opposition candidate, wins, he also is going to have a very tough time. The opposition has united to try and get rid of Mr. Rajapaksa, but if they succeed, the likelihood is that it will splinter again. There will need to be fresh elections. The opposition have also promised significant constitutional changes, upending Sri Lanka's system of government. And whether they'll be able to deliver that is really in question. James Crabtree, The Financial Times.